Hi, this is Andrew Twidwell, owner of ABT Plumbing, Electric Heat and Air. Once again with the show You Got This. I flubbed the intro again. Anyway, been a crazy morning, and I'm here with Rosalie Brown. She's zooming in from LA, and I'm zooming in from my little hovel of a conference room that we built in our Auburn office. It's a little echoey, but no windows, but yeah, it's working. So it's our new studio, and I've got the bear behind me. For those of you who are watching us on video, there's our bear. So, and yeah, we were just having a conversation about maybe finding a name for him. So, a little competition coming up, but we haven't quite worked that out. I may have said it too early, but anyway, no one listens to the show anyway, so it's all good. Hi, Rosalie.
Hi, that's a good intro. No one
Right?
listens.
No one listens to the show anyway, right?
No one listens. No one cares.
It's
Um,
not true, but it is weird. Part of me, I have to say that in my head so I don't freak out sometimes because like there's probably people listening to this. I say it again, but yeah, because yeah, you want to kind of vision that I'm just talking to you and I'm not talking to a room for or a county-wide audience. But in any event, hi, what's been up with you? Well, I'm gonna start because I'm gonna go. I got a little fun stuff because we took our daughter and her roommate, who used to be a ballet dancer back in her late teens. We went and saw the ballet this weekend. Went and saw Romeo and Juliet,
hmm,
and I haven't been to the ballet since Nutcracker a couple years ago, so that was kind of fun. A little cultural stuff, and but it was funny. We weren't in the balcony. We're on the lower balcony, but it was still really hot. It was unseasonably warm in San Francisco, and they need some help with their HVAC system because it was really warm and stuffy, and everybody in our group nodded off at one point. I don't think I nodded off, but man, I felt like it a couple times. It was hot, muggy. It's the air where there was just so many people, and I'm watching a ballet, which is kind of fun, but at the same time, it's like, what's going on? Because there's no words. It's just a ballet, and I remembered most of what was going on in Romeo and Juliet because it is such a pivotal kind of storyline, but I didn't remember everything. So yeah, it was kind of fun. Fun day in the city. Oh, and we went out to dim sum beforehand. Before that, we found my sisters found a dim sum place on 17th and Valencia, of all places, for dim sum. I'm used to going to the Richmond or Chinatown, but being born and raised in San Francisco, yeah, you kind of love the dim sum. That was fun. What's been up in your world?
mm, I don't think I can top that. Um, Lots of dog stuff going on in my world right now. Um, yeah, just dog stuff. I'm preparing for a little bit of a trip out of town, and so um, kind of became important to get like the stuff you have to do, like taken care of, like all the things on the little to-do list. So Theo is officially licensed finally. He's an
Wow.
official, and he's on his second round of vaccinations next week. So
Wow.
big stuff, yeah.
Why'd you have to get him licensed? You put him in a kennel or?
Well, so LA doesn't really enforce the
Oh,
licensing, and he's never out of my sight. It's not like
right.
he's running free in the streets. But to go into like a doggy daycare, which is
Yeah.
what I'm going to try to introduce him to, you
Right.
have to have um, not just the license. Can I just tell you the list of requirements? It was easier to get my children in
Right. At the
school.
school. Right.
This is like special vaccinations. This is like temperament tests, which I expected.
Right.
Um, you have to prove that he's been neutered. I'm like, how would one do that? So
He's a male, so it's kind of obvious. Just look down there.
he is fuzzy. He is fuzzy, and he doesn't want you poking around.
Right.
Um, but I was able to kind of like find a bunch of documents. So anyway, so
Yeah.
just taking care of that stuff. And then a couple weeks ago, you and I were talking, and you said something about YouTube being this great, resource for watching and learning how to do things. And so for like a month and a half, my car keeps telling me that the key battery is gonna die.
Oh man.
So I'm like, huh, wonder how much that's going to cost, right? So I look on YouTube and they're like, buy these batteries on Amazon. And so
$5. Yeah.
I did it. So I was like, so I
Good
had a
for you.
concert to go. So I had a concert to go to, and I was like, you know what? I have two keys, so I'm only going to do one in case it needs to be reprogrammed. The
Right.
video says the fob does not have to be reprogrammed,
Yeah.
but
Should be fine.
if you
Yeah.
if you know anything
But
about my luck,
yeah.
you know. So I did the one, and did it, and I was so proud of myself. And it did not have to be reprogrammed. So I'm feeling like kind of awesome about a few little wins. That's sometimes it's the little wins, man.
Those are great. Yeah. And not only that, but like, putting a battery in a key fob is one of those things that can take half a day if you got to take it in somewhere. And you managed to take care of it in half an hour to an hour. Yeah.
It was actually about, I don't know, a minute.
Yeah.
So it was easy, but I was as
But you
I'm
got the
like,
research and the ordering of
oh, I did
the
all that.
part and stuff.
Oh
So,
yeah,
but
yeah.
really, I mean, that's kind of what the show's about, right? It's like, can you take care of take care of this yourself? And like, the older I get, the more I have to kind of figure out, okay, is it worth my time to do it myself now, or is it worth taking it in? And something like that, yeah, it's worth my time because I'm going to save time, you know, dramatic. But
Although,
if it's something that I have no idea on how to deal with, um, it can. Well, I just had we can't access your video anyway. Hopefully that didn't stop. Anyway, sometimes you have jobs that you can hire somebody and it'll take them an hour and it'll take you half a day to a day. And there's those times when a job will take you an hour and it'll take half a day for you to deal with it if you take it in. So yeah, and that's a prime example, right? Where you just took care of it and everything's fine.
just did
Awesome.
it so
Kudos to
far.
you. Yeah.
So far, so far. Anyway, so we're already 7 minutes into the show. How did that
All
happen?
right. So yeah, we're getting ready to get into the meat and potatoes of the show. So you got me this great topic. We're heading into May. May is next week. And things are finally starting to heat up. It's been an unseasonably unusual winter for us. It's been particularly cold and an unusual spring where it's been particularly cool. And I know by the time this airs on Friday, I hear that it might be hitting close to 90 in Sacramento and 80s in Grass Valley. So it's time to start thinking about air conditioning and cooling the house. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about is whole house fans. And whole house fans are a way to help cool your house. And depending on where you live, you can utilize a whole house fan by itself and not really have to have anything else. Like if we're up on Banner, up on the top of Banner, and our whole house fan did about 98% of all our cooling. We had a little window unit. We didn't have full house. We didn't have air conditioner in the house. It was built in the 80s and back in the day when it never really got that warm up there. They didn't even put air conditioning in, but now it's starting to get warm up there. But we could manage with just a whole house fan, and it took care of it. So I've got a lot of questions like, what is a whole house fan? What does it do? What are the mechanics of the whole house fan? And is it something that I can do myself? So we'll kind of go into some of the in depth a little bit. I'll talk a little bit about how a whole house fan actually works, the advantages of a whole house fan, and then a little bit about how to install them. I'm going to be upfront. This is not your average DIY project because it requires about at least two different trades. So you've got carpentry, and technically even it's ventilation, so it's HVAC, heating, ventilating, and air conditioning, and also requires electrical work. So it's one of those things where you got to be a pretty high level DIY to do this one. But at least we'll kind of answer some questions about, is this something that I should think about, particularly moving forward. So what are some of the advantages of a whole house fan? So like I was saying, on Banner Mountain, we could pretty much get away with about 98% of all our cooling with just a whole house fan. Generally speaking, you can reduce your air conditioning bill by about 50%. So if you're spending, depending on the size of your house, Most people are spending anywhere from 100 to like 400. Some I've even heard of some friends that are paying $500 to cool their house during the summertime. Kind of depends on the elevation, right? If you're down in Roseville and you got a 5,000 square foot house and you got 2 air conditioners, there's a good chance you're going to be spending about $500 this summer per month to cool your house. And in that kind of situation, yeah, a whole house fan will really take care of it. Will really cut that bill in half. Some of the other benefits, it can help improve indoor air quality because it removes all the air inside your house, and it will actually change the house air multiple times an hour. So it moves the whole cubic volume of air inside your house multiple times, depending on the size of the fan and depending on the size of the house, right? But you usually try to size it according to the cubic volume of the home, the cubic volume of air to the home. And it enhances your comfort because I don't know about you, but AC is nice, but depending on the system, I know some houses you can really get that cold air blasted on you, so it's not very comfortable depending on how the system was designed. A whole house fan can really help with that comfort. If you've got a really well-designed house, it'll help a little bit with comfort. But if you've got a really well-designed, not necessarily house, but well-designed HVAC system, you shouldn't really even notice it. But the majority of them that are installed, you do notice them. So those are some of the major advantages of them. How does a whole house fan work? So you kind of gave me a synopsis here, and I'm going to just kind of go off script and talk about my experience with a whole house fan and the things that I know about it. So it's kind of some people are like, well, does it actually cool your house? No, it doesn't cool your house. An air conditioner cools your house. An air conditioner literally extracts the heat from your home and dumps it outside. So through thermodynamics, it actually moves the heat, and cold is just an absence of heat. So by removing the heat, it automatically makes you feel cooler, right? So that's what an air conditioner does. A heater produces heat. It actually has a fire or something like that. A heat pump moves heat just like an air conditioner. So in any event, a whole house fan is not cooling the air. All it's doing is pulling air from the outside and extracting the hot. It's extracting, excuse me, I should rephrase that. It's extracting the air from inside, and by having a window open strategically throughout the house, it's pulling that air in because you're building a vacuum inside your house by having this fan on, and that cool air is pulled in. So it is not something that's going to work when it's 80 degrees outside or above. Even 75 degrees, you're probably not going to want to use this because it's not going to cool your house. So you need to have a cooler temperature. Fortunately, in California, the majority of the state, we live in an environment where these things really work. And if you live in Nevada or Placer counties, it really works because at the higher elevations, it pretty much gets cool in the evening throughout the winter, right? Or excuse me, throughout the summer. And if you live in the low-lying areas, we have the Delta breeze that comes through, and it also helps cool us. So pretty much anywhere in our service territory, a whole house fan is going to be a really big benefit to you. If you live in Alabama or Louisiana or something like that, not so much because you've got that humidity to deal with and the temperatures aren't really going to get cool enough in the night. I've got friends that live out there, and a lot of times it'll be 80 degrees at 12 o'clock at night, 80% humidity. This is not going to do you any favors by pulling in hot, humid air from the outside. You need your air conditioner running all the time, and that's why it's always so cold whenever you're in the south, because they're trying to get rid of the humidity. But in any event, that's how this thing works. It's not actually pulling the heat out of the house. It's pulling the hot air out of the house and bringing cold air in. So the only time it really works is when the temperatures are down. So for like my situation, it worked pretty well, except my wife would stay at home a lot of times, so we didn't have like a regular schedule. So a lot of times we had to use the AC during the day. But if you have like a regular schedule, if you have like a regular work schedule where you're leaving the house, they're amazing because you can get away in our area without actually having to use your air conditioning. If you're leaving the house at 7:30 and not getting back till 5 o'clock, you're gone during the majority of the heat part of the day. So if you in the mornings, like in the evening, you get home and the temperature's starting to drop. Once it gets down to around 75 degrees, I would turn that thing on, open my windows, pull pull the hot air out and start cooling the house. And then if you've got what we call, it's a vent cool product, there's a fan that's actually mounted in the attic. It's not mounted on the joists, and you don't see it. It's really quiet because it's ducted to this plenum that's acoustic ducting, so it actually absorbs some of the sound. We suspend the fan from the joist, so it's not actually mounted to the joist, so it's not working like a speaker to make even louder. But some of the old school house fans were really freaking loud. Like the one I had in Banner Mountain, we put that was 20 years ago, and we had it up there, and that thing was ridiculously loud. So we turn it on for about an hour and cool the place down, and then turn it off. With these vent cool fans, I would just leave it on all night. I would turn it on and leave it going for 8 hours throughout the night because it's quiet enough. It's just kind of a nice little background, almost sounds like a refrigerator running. It's not much volume of sound. So I'd let it run all night, and it keeps the house cool throughout the night. And then I would strategically open the bedroom window next to our bed, and so you have a nice little cool breeze coming across your face from cool outside air. And
So it looks like
makes
maybe
for really comfortable
your internet is dropping out,
And then
and I'm not.
you wake up
Now
in the
I look
morning,
like I'm the.
turn it back on for a little bit before you leave, turn it off, and then close all the windows, close up your house, close the drapes, and try to keep the house as cool as possible. And you can get away without actually using your air conditioner. I know quite a few people that we've installed these for that don't even actually have to use their air conditioner except for a couple times a year in the Grass Valley area. It'll be a little harder in Roseville, because depending on where you're at, and most of these houses, we live in forested areas, so they're shaded the majority of the day anyway, so it doesn't get too hot, not getting a lot of sun exposure. So anyway, that's basically how a whole house fan works. Does that make sense?
Well, you did, from my perspective, drop out for a minute. So
Oh,
then I talked over you, and
oh, good.
it looks like you've been recorded to the cloud. So this would be a surprise show for
Okay.
all of us listening.
So just to
Um,
let you guys know, we're using tech. We're not in the same area as we started, as you know from the start of the show. We're using the internet, and tech doesn't always work the
so-
way it's supposed to. But
sometimes
hopefully this,
some, sometimes your internet is the problem because you have so many people
yeah,
pulling on your source and you get a
yeah.
surge. Me, it's mostly just, is my dog going to walk in on screen or step on something, or,
Right.
am I going to have to jump up and, stop him from doing something crazy? But so
Yeah,
far, so good.
yeah. Our internet gets utilized for all our phone system, obviously our computer system. So yeah, we've got 5 people in the office today, so or 6 people in the
I
office
think you
today.
might have had a big call volume, which is a good thing for a little
Yeah.
bit. So
Did you hear the barking of my cell phone? I hope I didn't hear that, but
I
okay,
did
good.
not hear
I
that.
heard it on my headphones. So yeah, yeah, got a phone call during it too. Okay, so anyway, hopefully this is working. How to install a whole house fan. So we're going to get a little bit into the installation. Installing a whole house fan typically involves the following steps. You got to determine the size and the location of the fan. So you got to figure out, a good like rule of thumb is just, how many square feet is my house, and then you can kind of do the math and figure out, most houses are 8-foot ceilings, and you can multiply and get the cubic feet. And they've got calculators inside of the internet that I usually use when I'm trying to calculate flooring or volumes of gravel or anything like that, and just go into there because it's hard to remember all that math stuff. And yeah, a high school grad, not a college grad. So they've got calculators online to figure out what size fan you're actually going to need, because 800 square foot house compared to a 5,000 square foot house, going to need completely different fans. And 5,000 square foot house, you're probably going to need more than one fan. You're probably going to need a couple of them. So determine the size and location of the fans. You typically want to have this in a location that is in the center of the house somewhere, relatively, ideally like in a hallway, so it's away from living spaces. You don't want to put it in your bedroom because, again, even with these quieter fans, you still hear a little bit of noise. So if you can put it in a hallway where you're not going to hear it as much, would be ideal. The other thing is you need to have attic space. So if you've got vaulted ceilings and you don't have an attic, you need to find a space where you can actually install it. A lot of times with vaulted ceilings, you'll have a dead space somewhere with a wall that you can install them on. So you got to find a space where an attic space that you can actually install this for. So you got to make sure in the attic space, is it going to work? You know, do I have other things that are in the way? Do I have a furnace that's in the way? Do I have there are some houses here that have water heaters in the attic. Do I have other mechanical things in the way, electrical things? What do I have to do to move stuff? Figuring all that stuff out. You're gonna have to, do your due diligence and figure all that out. Installing a fan. You want to install it, like I say, in an area that's going to be quiet, hopefully in a hallway. You're going to have to decide, what type of fan. Are you going to get the old school one that just mounts straight to the joist? If you do that, you're going to have to actually do some framing. You're going to have to cut a joist and remove a section of it and sister across it. So there's some carpentry involved, and if you've got some engineered structure, like some of our houses are being built with engineered I-beams and things like that, don't cut those. If you don't know what you've got, talk to a contractor that can help you, because you don't want to be cutting joists and come to find out that your ceiling is going to fall down. So it's one of those things, be really, 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 really careful. If you don't know what you're doing, don't stop, just don't do that. So again, this is for entertainment value. So you got to determine what type of fan. The types of fan that we install, you don't have to take out a joist. It'll fit in a standard 16-inch joist bay. Installing a fan, so then you actually install the fan. But what does that mean? You actually install the fan, but you also have to get electricity to it. So I've got to find a dedicated circuit or run a dedicated circuit to the fan so that it can run on electricity. They're only 110. And I think the wattage is somewhere in the 15 amp range, 20 amp range. So a regular 110 outlet will be fine, but it is an appliance. It's considered an appliance, so it needs a dedicated circuit from the service panel. So again, if you're not an electrician and you don't know how to do electrical, you get an electrician to run a dedicated circuit for this thing. So then once you've got all that wired, they are plug in, so you can literally just plug it in. Get it all set up, get the fan mounted from the joist from the ceiling, plug the fan in, get the controller wired. The old school ones, the controller was on the fan itself. The new ones, we actually have a wired controller that goes in the wall. So if you don't know how to fish wire through a wall, again, get an electrician to do this. That's why I say it's kind of high level. It's not something that's really easy to do. And then test it. See how it works. Is it pulling air in? And you will know when you turn that thing on and you open a window, you literally get a breeze coming across you. You can feel the cold air coming in or hot air depending on what the temperature is at during the day. So that's basically it. It's I'm a true believer in them. They will save you a ton of money. If you do hire somebody to put one in like us, they will pay it back depending on how cool you keep your house. It can have a payback in as little as like 2 years. So, and after that, it's just free money, right? And you're going to be a lot more comfortable. So if you are interested in getting one of these things installed, you can reach us at 530-230-9092, 530-230-9092. You can reach us at abtplumbing.com. You can see more information. We've got some of this shared. We've also got this information shared on Facebook. We just shared it this week. We'll be running some more stuff on Whole House Fans on Facebook. Like our page. And with that, thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.